Hi, boys and girls. It's me, Mr. Dean, and one thing I think that I'm going to try to do is I'd like to, every once in a while, I'm going to read you a story.
You want to hear a story? I'll read one to you. Story time with Mr. Dean.
So I've got one picked out from my home library. Actually, I think this one made its way to school at one point. Not sure if I read it this year, but it's a great story. It's called The Skunk. See him back there. Ooh, what's he doing? Looks like he's looking at him. Does he? I think he sees that skunk. I think so, yeah. It's a story by Mac Barnett, and the art is by Patrick McDonnell. Still. There's the title page. Is that the same skunk? That looks more realistic, doesn't it? You see that? That looks like a real skunk. On the front, it was like a, cartoony looking skunk. Big red nose. When I left my house, there was a skunk on my doorstep. I kept very still. I did not want to startle him, but the skunk did not seem scared. Slowly and carefully, I backed away and started down the street. The skunk started right after me. We walked together a few blocks. I thought it was funny that a skunk and I could be going in the same direction. What would you think if a skunk started following you around? But after a mile, I realized I was being followed. When I sped up, the skunk sped up. When I slowed, the skunk slowed. It's funny. I took many wild turns, and so did the skunk. I turned to the skunk. I asked, "What do you want?" The skunk did not answer. The skunk was a skunk. It's funny. I bought the skunk an apple. I gave him a saucer of milk. I offered him my pocket watch. The skunk did not want any of these things. This was ridiculous. I was wasting my time. I hailed a taxi and sped off down the avenue. The skunk took the next cab. I wonder why the skunk is following him. Why do you think the skunk is following him? Outside the opera house, I hid behind a shrub. The skunk did not see me crouching there. Do you see him crouching there? Yeah? Oh, yep. Nice job. Success! I bounded up the steps and took my seat. I was relieved to find myself between a lady and a gray old officer. But then, of course, skunks can't buy tickets to the opera. The curtain rose, and I smiled. Is that it? Is it over? Did he get away from the skunk? There's a lot more story here. Oh. In the middle of the first solo, the skunk came trotting down the aisle. He climbed up the lady's gown and took a seat on her head. She did not notice. She was wrapped. "Excuse me, madam," I said, "but there seems to be a skunk on your head." "Hush," said the lady. "This is my favorite part. So strange and so sad." I had to escape. I excused myself and hurried out a fire escape. Sorry. I hurried out a fire exit. That's what it said. She was rapt. That's a cool word. Like she was really just, her focus was on the opera. And she did not want to be disturbed. She was rapt. The skunk pursued me across the city. He followed me through the sculpture garden and the cemetery. I could not get away. I ran to the carnival and bought a ticket to the Ferris wheel. The skunk boarded the gondola after mine. We rode around in great circles. He was not getting any nearer, but he was not getting any farther away. Nice and framed. I'll admit that I began to panic. I ran past the wharf and turned down the alley. It was a dead end. The skunk walked toward me. "Go away, skunk!" I shouted. But the skunk came closer and closer. Oh, what's gonna happen? I lifted a manhole and climbed down into the sewers. I hurried underneath the streets. Many times I paused to catch my breath, but never for long. I had to go on. Down into the sewer. When I came up, I was in a different part of the city. I found a new house, I bought new things, and on my first night when I opened my bedroom door, guess who was waiting there for me? Can you guess? Nobody. I threw myself a party. I cooked a large dinner, and people brought me gifts. Did you expect that? Did you predict that? I thought the skunk was going to be there. I was wrong. After dessert, during the dancing, I thought about the skunk. What was he doing? Was he looking for me? Was he back in his burrow? Was he following someone else? I get the feeling his point of view, how he feels about the skunk has changed. How does he feel about that skunk now? You think? I left the party to find my skunk. His skunk. He was not in the alley. He was not in the carnival. He was not beneath the city. I could not find him anywhere. I searched and searched. All that time trying to get away from the skunk. And now, let's try to find him. I like that twist. There was the skunk. I trailed him down the sidewalk, careful to remain hidden. Hey, doesn't want the skunk to see him, huh? I think I will keep an eye on him and make sure he does not follow me again. That's the end. Look at that. There's the skunk. Show you the back. I love that story. I hope you enjoyed it, and if this is, maybe this is a thing too. Mr. Dean reading stories. Why not, right?
Story time with Mr. Dean.